And we are live right now.
All right, so welcome once again,
Hello!
Facebook Live, to another behind-the-scenes recording of our show. Today is the 2nd of October. I am here with our senior correspondent, Charlie Saladino, who is now a second-time grandfather.
Grandfather, yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Hello, Eva Louisa and her big brother, Charlie Camilli.
Nice.
Wait, where is it?
Yo,
There it is.
little C, what are you doing?
There it is. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
thank you. I'm proudly wearing my shirt. That's 3 years old from the last one.
You can't see it. You gotta show it to the camera over there.
I was talking to our
Right.
top-notch engineer.
Okay,
Aw.
which
I
is
wasn't talking to them.
which is Zambo, the engineer, over here. And we have our special guest, Phil Rousser. Phil
Hello,
Russert
hello.
from
How are
the
you?
Suffolk Comic and Art Expo.
Yes.
Okay.
You got it.
All right. So before we start, we're going to do some house cleaning, as I always like to do. On the 16th of October, we're going to have our 25th live show at the Source Mall and the second floor. We're going to have Christy Cakes from, she's going to be giving out a cake pop basket. We're also going to have 2 free tickets to the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo, courtesy of Phil right here, which is awesome. Where's that at? You know, why?
Tears, anger.
I gotta move this over here.
All right, yeah, keep it next to you.
I don't know why I can't find the right
Not
button.
that one.
There we
Hey! We can rewrite the whole thing. If you need
No.
another rubric,
No,
I
my-
can get you another rubric.
go. There it is.
There you go.
See, that's why. See, it's supposed to be.
Oh, it was misassigned.
It was moved. It was moved.
We moved it. Ooh.
See, because the rim shot's supposed to be here,
All right.
and the drum is. That's right.
Well, this is all part of the house cleaning. So you want me to switch where the rim
Well,
shot?
not now.
I could do it right now. It'll take 2 seconds.
All right, yeah. So this
Done.
should be
Now do
the
it.
clap, and this should be the rim shot.
Yeah. Okay. So
oh
now
man,
hit
I
it.
can't even touch that one.
All right. So that's the rim
It's
shot.
the
Go to the
clap.
other one.
That's not the rim shot.
That's the
That's the symbol
just
of the rim
symbol.
shot.
So then you want the rim shot over here. Okay.
Charlie, he's
so
talking
then
about the clap.
so
There
that's
we
the
go.
rim shot. Now go to the one next to it. Is that what you want?
Yes.
And then the one next to that.
There you go.
Okay. You're good.
All right, now that we wasted major time,
This is why it's behind the scenes.
And house cleaning.
So,
because
like I
this is
said,
part of it.
cake pop. We're gonna have a cake pop basket. So that will be on the 16th. And then, just a little shout out to our guest last week, Carol and Paul will have their show at the Bolton Center on the 6th, which is this Sunday.
6, which I am going to.
The shows are at 12:30 and at 4 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to www.carolandpaula.com for tickets, and it's gonna
And
be
it's
a
a
grand
it's a
old,
great show
old
because
time.
we've seen it.
Yeah. So that's it. So we are now ready to start the show. You guys ready?
No,
go for
wait. I just wanted to see if you were going to wait.
And here we go.
The following is brought to you in part by MFC Studios.
Timer.
The views of the show's host and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management,
I
owners,
mentioned
or
Magic
staff
Garden to my
of
dad.
this
He actually
radio
remembered.
station.
So that was
Yeah.
really
And
cool. I was like,
now,
oh, really? He's like, yeah.
It came from the
I
radio.
remember that.
Magic Garden?
Yeah,
Carol
I'm
and
old.
Paula?
Yeah, good stuff.
And Sherlock the Squirrel and
Yeah, that's exactly what she was
the
talking about.
Chuckle
Yes.
Patch
They had them on last
Yeah.
week.
and the parrot. I forgot what the parrot's name was.
Flapper.
Flapper?
Flapper.
There
He
you
used to
go.
come on once in a while.
Aw. I somehow vaguely remember an episode or two, too.
Wasn't that Flap of the Crackler?
Yeah, but and welcome once again to A Game from the Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres speaking. With me in the GHR studio, we have our senior correspondent, Charlie Saladino.
Yeah, but Toy Story 4.
We have Zambo, the engineer.
Howdy.
And we have our special guest, Phil Russert, who we're going to be talking to with and about. He
Don't
is,
give him
the
a chance to say
head-
hello.
Heidi Ho,
He
good
is
neighbor.
the head of the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo.
Heidi Ho, good neighbor.
See, that's what I was going for. But we'll get to him in just a minute.
Why? He's our
Because-
guest.
We have to take it away with the news. We have to do all that.
Oh,
ourselves.
okay. All right. I've
If
been
you
gone
can't
for
get
a
along,
while.
I'll separate you.
So the news is brought to you in part by the fine folks of the Big Apple Con, of which we are the official show of, celebrating over 23 years of pop cultureness and comic book stuff. The next show is going to be on December 14th of 2019, the Big Apple Christmas Con. For more information, go to www.bigapplecc.com. And also want to do these shout-outs for the Patreons, of which there are Danny Grillo, award-winning director Jared Burrell, Two Sentence Horror, Millie Portes, Kyle Horn, Dresden Media, Unjikun, Bree Nicholas, and Shadow Rabbit Art. What are you doing over there?
I thought you said
Told me a funny
Cowhorn.
joke.
Kyle.
Kyle,
You know
oh.
Kyle. You should know
I know
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yeah,
he
he'll
was
be
a
at the
guest
show
on the-
too.
I thought you said Cal. I was going to go, his name is Kyle, but you said it right.
He's an artist at my show too, actually.
Yeah, see, Kyle.
we know. That's how we know him.
So now, let's take a look at the news.
Woo.
Well, you didn't.
What?
There it is.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You did it.
We're
Mark
gonna start off
is
with
happy
with the
about that,
sad
isn't-
news.
Oh,
Sad.
God.
That was a hell of a morph.
Actress Linda Porter died recently of cancer. Linda appeared in such shows as Beauty and the Beast live-action TV series, Murder, She Wrote, Frasier, Roseanne, Mad About You, Wings, ER, X-Files, Melrose Place, G vs. E, The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human, a TV movie, Diagnosis Murder, Even Stevens, Dharma and Greg, Judging Amy, Malcolm in the Middle, Girlfriends, Gilmore Girls, What I Like About You, Phil the Future, King of Queens, That's So Raven, CSI New York, How I Met Your Mother, The Sweet Life on Deck, American Horror Story Murder House, The Middle, The Mindy Project, Two Broke Girls, and most recently, she was in Superstore, just to name a few.
Wow.
I actually remember her too. Her face was super familiar.
She always played the old lady.
Yeah. She was the typical old lady guy, and I'm like,
And even when she was
Old
young.
lady guy.
Yeah. The old lady guy, yeah. So she was a spry 86.
That's young.
very
Yeah. So moving on to some more sad news.
Wow.
Actor Rob Garrison also died recently. Rob had been admitted in a hospital for treatment of kidney and liver issues when all of his organs shut down. Jack appeared in such films as Starship Invasions, The Karate Kid,
Get him
Iron
a body
Eagle,
bag!
Karate Kid Part 2, just to name a few. And on the small screen, Rob appeared in such shows as St. Elsewhere, Columbo, The Original MacGyver, Tour of Duty, Coach, Kung Fu The Legend Continues, The Pledge, and he reprised his most famous role of Tommy, as Phil just said, in Cobra Kai on YouTube Red. So he was a young 59.
Wow. Did he always play the bad guy?
He played the kid, mostly. And then he played the Then
Yeah.
he played the bad guy. You know, the Cobra
Okay.
Kai Karate
Yeah.
Kid stuff.
I heard that's
Yeah.
good. I haven't seen that.
no, it's probably one of the best online produced shows out there.
I heard it actually makes you sympathize with William Zabka and all
Yeah.
of them, and that
Yeah.
Daniel wasn't all that great.
Yeah, like it really kind of flips the script, and you kind of go, oh.
It-
Oh.
It does what they did with Dolph Lundgren's character in Creed 2. They humanized the villain.
yeah.
So it's not just
Well, that's real life.
black and white
Yeah,
cookie
I had
cutter.
a lot of gray.
to do.
He makes
Yeah.
him an actual person instead of a cartoon character villain. So I thought that's
You mellow. When you get older, he doesn't want to break you anymore.
more sad news. More sad
Oh,
news.
would you stop?
So soap opera writer. I'm not killing them. So soap opera writer.
Allegedly.
Yeah, so as far as
Allegedly.
we know.
Soap opera writer Hogan Sheffer also died recently. As of this recording, no cause of death has been released. While you may not be familiar with his name, Hogan was a head writer on such shows as the World Turns, Days of Our Lives, and Young and Restless, spanning 13 years from 2000 to 2013.
What a hero.
They get no credit, those guys, and they got to put out the product every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
true.
you were at ABC
I
when they were-
know,
you know
I
how it
know.
all goes at
I know.
soaps.
I know how that goes. Not only do they have to put out the product when they finally finish it, and they get to rehearsal, it all changes sometimes. So it's a rough game.
So he also was a spry 61 years old.
Oh God.
So, moving on. More happy news. From
Yay.
the Well That Changed Quickly department.
Yeah, from sad to happy news.
Just a few months ago, we had discussed how Clerks Part 3 was never going to happen, and that Kevin Smith had a live table read of said script with the original cast members reprising their roles. Well, now it seems that Clerks will have a Part 3 after all. Kevin Smith says, Jeff Anderson, Jay Muse, and I spent Saturday signing stuff and catching up. We talked about making a movie together. It'll be a movie that concludes a saga. It'll be a movie about how you're never too old to completely change your life. It'll be a movie about how a decade-spanning friendship
You made a
finally
mistake.
confronts the future, it will be a movie that brings us back to the beginning, a return to the cradle of civilization in the great state of New Jersey. It will be a movie that stars Jeff and Brian O'Halloran, with me and Jay in supporting roles, and it will be a movie called Clerks 3. This won't be the old script that we made almost a few years back. This is a completely new screenplay that I just started writing last night. And so far, it's like a dream come true. After mending fences with Ben Affleck earlier this year, I was hoping to do the same with Jeff, so a huge thank to Lilo Multi-Props for getting us all in the same room, but biggest thanks ever goes to Jeff for being receptive to the idea after all. So, Clerks 3, a new Clerks 3 is going to come after the table reading of the old Clerks 3 with the original guy who was the holdout of making the original Clerks 3.
Oh, wow.
So, yay. I
didn't know he was on the outs with Affleck.
Yeah, that was a while ago. He just got back on the ins.
What was that all about?
So the short version is this. As you know, Kevin Smith likes to tell his story. And he told one too many stories about Ben Affleck during his not happy Ben Affleck time. That was with Geely and the drugs and the rehab.
Well, if you don't do that stuff, there's no story to tell.
That's true.
A good story never started with, so I was having a glass of milk. So, I mean, think about it like that, Ben.
Well,
And
it could. It
Geely-
really depends on...
And
Depends.
Geely, along with Skyline, deserve to be talked about immensely.
So
Can we just talk about Daredevil the movie for a moment? Please, no.
So yeah, so that's so he became friends again. So yay, everybody's happy now. And Kevin Smith is on his uptick after his near-death experience. So yeah, for him. No word on a release date nor when the movie will begin shooting, but he's still busy promoting the Jay and Silent Bob reboot that's coming out very soon.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on. From
Thank
the
God.
Take That Marvel department. Spawn creator and Image Comics founder Todd McFarlane has earned the Guinness Book of World Records title for the longest-running creator-owned superhero comic book series for his creation of Spawn.
Yeah, Todd.
Todd says, any record that is based on longevity is made of backs of thousands of people. As much as I am proud to be receiving this award, I gratefully accept it on behalf of those who helped me pass 27 years of this journey. Guinness Book says, I'm incredibly honored to presenting this Guinness Book World Record title to Todd McFarlane in honor of Spawn 301 at the event that celebrates creators and such enthusiasm. Todd McFarlane displays immense passion, a key value of our mission, and this achievement is a recognition of Todd's nearly 3-decade career. For those of you who are not paying attention, which Charlie is, the Spawn comic series was first published way back in 1992 by Image Comics and has just published issue 301 this month. And we actually have an interview scheduled with him at Comic-Con, which is tomorrow, although if you're listening to us not on Facebook Live, it already passed.
Right.
Yes.
Which totally screws up. It's like watching the Fast and Furious
Furioso?
Tokyo Drift. Yes, I made it Italian, all right?
Screws up
You got
the
a problem with that?
Nah.
Speaking of, actually, do you want to talk about what you did yesterday? Do you want to give a few minutes for that?
No. No, I will. I will definitely talk about it. I'm very excited about that.
So speaking of Italian, why don't we just go right
my
in there?
God. I didn't say that. Mark said that, remember. We were cordially invited to the Playboy Club in Manhattan for the Sopranos Con.
Yeah,
A con,
baby. That's
yeah,
awesome.
baby, a con for the fans, by the fans. And it was hosted by, of course, the Playboy Club and the one and only global liaison, Lucky Church, who you really know, and you don't know that you know him.
Okay.
But he is a major promoter. He makes things happen. And just a big shout out to also Bernadette at the Playboy Club, who was, the hospitality was over the top for us, and it was a great party. Dominic has great interviews, which you will hear on another show. And if you want to see the fun we had, just go to our Facebook page and the albums. I put the pictures up this morning. And again, the party was great. It was a typical Manhattan bash. And the club is unbelievable. It's a classy, really nice club. The inside is amazing. And we just, again, they made us feel, so at home there. Bernadette was bringing people over to interview, and Dominic had a great idea. He was going to sit in one of the in one of the lounge areas, and the interviews kept coming to him. I brought them. Bernadette brought several, and he just did his job, and it was great. We had a lot of interesting people. A lot of people I know from movies that you would never know because you never seen.
I looked at the pictures like I don't know who that is.
You never seen Goodfellas. You never seen The Sopranos.
No.
Yeah, you never seen Goodfellas or any other. Analyze this, analyze.
I recognize the Playboy Bunny.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. That was I'm telling you, they were all nice there. It was a great time, and you'll see the good time in the pictures.
So
and,
when is the Sopranos Con? Do you know?
No, because we're also invited to the Meadowlands, the big event for the Sopranos.
That is a Sopranos Con, isn't it? Meadowlands.
Yeah.
You don't
That's
have a
what I
date,
said.
though.
I don't have any idea. Dominic took all the information and he left with it.
Oh, okay.
I just take the pictures, okay?
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. So as you can see, as I said on our Facebook page.
Yes. So moving on.
Not moving along. Thank you so much to Bernadette. She was amazing, and to Lucky. Thank you.
Woo! Yeah, I found the right button.
Yes.
All right.
So moving on from the I guess
and another thing I have. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
From the I guess they like making money more than they like each other department. Just after a few weeks, Sony had announced
Sony?
Yeah, that's the competitor.
Yeah.
That all negotiations has ended with Disney to keep Spider-Man in the MCU. Sony and Disney announced that they come together with an agreement after all to continue on this for just a little longer. Kevin Feige says, I am thrilled that Spidey's journey in the MCU will continue, and I and all of us at Marvel Studios are excited that we get to keep working on it. Spider-Man is a powerful icon and hero whose story crosses all ages and audiences around the globe. He also happens to be the only hero with the superpower to cross cinematic universes. So the Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse. You'll never know what surprises the future may hold.
To all our fans, that sounds nothing like Kevin.
Nope.
Sony says...
Sounds like Bob Iger. Sorry.
Sony says, this is terrific. Peter Parker's story took a dramatic turn in Far From Home, and we could not be happier with all working together to see where this journey goes. This has been a winning partnership for the studios, the franchise, and the fans, and I am overjoyed it will continue.
Translation. Disney's money is so good, and we need to keep them with us, otherwise we can't make a good one again.
I actually read a few reports that said that Brie Larson is really unlikable as Captain Marvel. And they wanted to tie Spider-Man into the next Captain Marvel movie to make her more likable, bring out a funnier side to her. And losing Spider-Man hurt them with pushing that forward. That's why they haven't announced the next Captain Marvel yet, even though she's supposed to be in the next phase.
That's interesting.
I think
I should know about that.
I think they should go with Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei just somehow gets the power.
Yeah.
You know what, though?
It
No,
happened.
she should get a Green
She could
Lantern
do it.
ring.
Did not
She could do
happen
it.
in Endgame or what?
I mean, I wish
They
it
did
did.
give Pepper Potts, yeah?
Marissa Tomei would be
Just coming
awesome.
up out of nowhere with like a broom or something.
No, the villain is wrong. Yes, no.
For those
She's
not
wrong.
For those not
Wrong,
paying
you're
attention, the second Spider-Man film is Sony's highest-grossing film of all time, earning more than $1.1 billion worldwide.
Billion
Disney
dollars.
was like, hey, we like money, and we want some of that,
That was
And
good. That was
tried.
almost Mickey Mouse.
and tried to
Hey, we want
renegotiate
money.
their deal with Sony. And Sony is like, nah, we like our money too, and we want to keep ours over here.
Yeah.
So basically, Spidey gets to keep appearing in whatever Marvel movie Disney wants, and Sony gets one more co-produced solo Spidey movie.
So we know at least we're getting one.
Yes,
We know
we're
at least
getting
getting
one. And I think that
And we know one
They'll
is the
keep
loneliest
going.
number.
they'll
keep
yeah,
going.
because as long as it makes money, they'll keep on going.
They
But
just
I-
made it. They made it public because one side thought they'd shame the other, and public opinion would push their agenda.
Oh yeah,
Which
that's really what
I
it
guess
was.
technically it was because Sony, it's weird because
Even though Sony was in the right.
Yes,
If you
Sony
look
was
at
in the
all
right.
data, Sony's in the right, but my initial reaction was, oh, screw Sony. But then I looked and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
because Disney was
screw
trying to
Disney.
strong
Yeah.
arm
So, yeah,
them.
I was. Yeah.
And
Screw you,
then
Mouse.
There you go.
when it started to go back towards the hey, I think Sony's right side, that's when Disney Marvel's like, you know what? Let's
Whoops.
renegotiate and
Because
get
then they
this
thought,
done.
uh-oh, wait, we might have screwed up.
I think that Spider-Man is an integral part of the show going forward because and if they
hands
had
down.
separated it, the Marvel movies would have hurt because
Oh yeah.
now they have things that they incorporated that they can't use anymore, and,
And
they're
now
like,
they're trying to like incorporate like
problem.
the Dark Avengers and like all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
it looks like that's what they want to try and do. So isn't Spider-Man like a key integral part of literally like 2/3
Well, that's like
of that
losing
entire
Superman
thing?
if you're
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah.
That's your Superman. I mean, that's your iconic hero. You can't lose him.
Exactly.
it's so weird. It's
I
like
say
when
we just get the Raimis to do the directing again, and we just have a blast. We still keep Tom
You know,
Holland,
if they
but
left,
we let Raimi
if they
do it.
left Raimi alone for the third one, it would have been a good movie.
Yeah, they just had to have
Yeah.
the suits get involved. Which
Yeah.
sucked.
You know,
how much time we got? What's the timer?
Let me just double check. I was just looking at the stream. We have 17 right now, so we're
Okay,
going
so
on 3 minutes.
we can go on to the clip.
Sure.
So moving on to the next bit of news from the
clip.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
department. In a recent statement, director of the new Joker movie, Todd Phillips, had this to say about his movie is being received. I haven't even started yet.
Go ahead.
This comes in reference to the fact. This isn't him speaking.
Oh, okay.
This comes in reference to the fact that the movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, decided not to play the aforementioned movie out
Fair
of
enough.
social responsibility to those who died at the very same theater during Dark Knight Rises way back in 2012. Todd says Aurora is obviously a horrible, horrible situation, but even that is
Fair.
not something you blame on the movie. The gentleman wasn't even going in as Joker. It was misreported. His hair was dyed red and obviously having a mental breakdown, but it was not related to the movie outside the fact that it happened at a movie theater. The one that bugs me more is the toxic white male thing when you go, oh, I just saw John Wick 3. He's a white male who kills 300 people and everybody's laughing and hooting and hollering. Why does my movie get held to a different standard? It doesn't make any sense to me. Warner Brothers says gun violence in our society is a critical issue, and we extend our deepest sympathy to all victims and families impacted by these tragedies. At the same time, Warner Bros. Believes that one of our functions of storytelling is to provoke difficult conversations around complex issues. Make no mistake, neither the fictional character or Joker nor the film is an endorsement of real-world violence of any kind. It is not the intention of the film, the filmmakers or the studio to hold this character up as a hero. So it's weird. He's right, but not right at the same time.
Yeah, that's
Like-
how you keep friends.
Like, it's because on one hand, yeah, they are kind of making a symbol out of this movie Joker because it's supposedly ultra violent and because of what happened with the shooting. But on the other hand, yeah, there's other tons of movies out there that are way more violent, more bloody, more horror movies especially. Just people slashing
But
and all this
it's
stuff.
Because they're bringing
Friday
so
the
much
13th.
But it's
uh,
more
light.
an example of putting the onus on something that doesn't belong
Yeah.
with the
Right.
onus. I mean, you have a mental breakdown. Sorry, and we're blaming a movie. I don't know about you. I watched Tom and Jerry blow the crap out of each other, and I didn't.
What about the
hurt-
Three Stooges? They
Yeah.
beat the living conch out of each other.
If we keep looking at false,
Reasoning.
and things that are, especially inanimate things, to blame, well, then you're letting the things that are actually the people that are actually doing things off the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as George Carlin always says, it's the parents' fault.
There you go.
You know, he was a genius, and that's what it is. It's if your son or your daughter is a brat, or it's not movies they watch, it's the parents' fault.
It
It's
always
that
leads
simple.
back to the source.
I mean,
where
I
they
saw
grew up.
Schwarzenegger in every shoot 'em up movie there was. I didn't start speaking in like an Austrian accent and shooting people.
Sure, I made puns like stick around.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, that was it.
and
Or
and also, like I grew up with the Three Stooges, and they
I'm
hit
sorry,
each
that must
other
have been
with
a rough life at home.
yeah. I get hit, when you get hit with that wrench one too many times. And then you have to yell "Mo Larry cheese." It's not, but yeah. And I've never taken a wrench and hitting or a hammer and hitting. It's the parents' fault.
on the flip side, I'm going to throw out there that while there might be people who do watch this stuff and say, maybe I should do it, the parenting comes into play like maybe you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So even if you are
And not-
influenced by the things you see, the parenting is the course correction.
Right. And
Because I know, speaking for myself personally, that I should never be allowed to carry a gun.
There's a lot of people.
Because I know if I had one, I would be in jail and be butt raped instantly. But I know not to do that.
Yeah, we all know
So,
not to
I'm just
kill
saying,
people.
so-
It's against the
So
law.
if- so even if- So even if you are influenced by it,
Good call.
the parent should be the one to course correct you.
Well, as a parent of
not
two
do
small
it.
children, okay, you see, if you're paying attention to your kids, you see. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I work 4 jobs and run a show.
4 jobs.
But yeah, I do, but I still, you see your kids' behaviors. If something's going on that doesn't look right, especially if they're a little disturbed, you'd think as a parent, if you're doing your job and paying attention, you'd start to get some sort of sign that makes you a little nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not on the level of you think they're going to shoot somebody, but something to address.
Well,
But
if
there's
they're
at least
watching,
concern.
Yeah.
Could hopefully be risen.
they're watching Huckleberry Hound, they want to hit some people on the head with the kabong.
Yeah.
You see that, you're like,
That would
maybe
be-
Violence towards
you
pets in
shouldn't-
the home.
You
something.
shouldn't do that.
That would be Quick Straw McGraw, El Kabong.
Quick
you
draw.
There you go.
Nice.
you
Okay,
go.
just wanted to clear that.
Not Huckleberry Hound.
How about
Because
this?
now
we'll
we
take you to
won't
the
get all
doctor
those
after some
letters.
ice cream,
Yes.
and I'll get you a Kids Bop kit, and you'll have fun with that. Okay, done.
So moving along for the final bit of news from the finger licking game department. I think we lost. I think
my Lord.
I know. What
You're
going to
tell us
Go
about
for
that
it.
new game, Kentucky Fried Chicken came out with.
Yes.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
mentioned during our 24th live show in front of a live studio audience at the East Meadow Jewish Library, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library, KFC has designed an anime-inspired dating game.
I was
where
kidding.
you can really.
I was
I thought
really
you knew.
kidding. No.
No, KFC released a dating simulator
Yeah.
Oh
so
my
my
God.
where you have to try and date.
I
the
really
colonel.
thought you knew. So
There are
yes.
2 jokes I can make about that I probably shouldn't right
so.
now.
Save.
It's a game where you are. It's a dating game where you can woo Colonel Sanders. I love you, Colonel Sanders. A finger licking good dating simulator. That's
Yep.
the title.
With chicken heads?
Is now available, and it is free on Steam right now.
Wow.
Executives say, "I love you, Colonel Sanders. A finger licking dating good simulator
It's the best pedophile game we ever came up with.
follows you, a promising culinary student, as you try to date your classmate, Colonel Sanders. Throughout your journey, you'll be faced with life-changing decisions that will affect your chances of friendship and love.
More
But be
paprika?
careful. Your choices have real consequences with real animated characters' feelings at stake. Do you have what it takes to survive culinary school? Will Colonel Sanders choose you to be his business partner, or maybe even so much more?"
Yeah, baby.
Find out in the most finger-licking good dating simulator ever created, a game that KFC actually made and endorsed.
And these are the people that go to the movie theater and shoot everybody
Exactly.
up.
So this is not the first time KFC's been involved in video games. You guys know this, right?
No, let's hear this.
They had a VR game based off of their training for new employees, where you were it was VR, so helmet and everything. Your 2 controllers were your 2 hands, and you learned how to fry chicken from the KFC's workers' perspective, but they treated it like some dystopian. One of the game references would be Bioshocky, like future.
This
so it was
is
like,
fun.
It was effed up, but it was funny, and they endorsed it ridiculously. But in this day and age, like, you either can try and date Colonel Sanders, or you play as an angry goose trying to take someone's hat.
Yeah.
In like, that's the modern spectrum of video games. It's really funny today.
Wow.
And then there's the shoot 'em ups, but that we don't talk about those.
And it's free, so it's
Yeah.
the
I
point
can't
is-
wait to put it on my.
I'm just amazed that you didn't know, but you knew. Where I was
I
going
said
with
that
this.
as a joke because, in fact, this is a joke.
So what did you think I was going for when I said that?
I don't know. I couldn't. I just, I don't
Dating and
think
finger
about.
licking.
I don't think
this is
about
like a
what you're
good
going for.
tagline.
My job is to hear what you
Depends on who you
say
talk to.
and attack on it quick.
So yeah.
I
So-
was shocked.
So yeah.
It's not a good tagline for
Yeah.
a dating service. Finger licking good.
Yeah,
Finger licking
no.
good. It's a
No.
thing.
And especially if you want to date Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, date Colonel Sanders. That's
Yeah.
that's the goal. And if I'm not mistaken, we mentioned on the
Come
earlier
back to my
show
dorm and
that
find out the
Yeah,
herbs and spices.
you also get a certificate of completion for culinary school.
You do.
When,
Oh my
when
God!
You,
I
when
would
you, when
not
you beat the
display
game.
that at all if I wanted.
I would totally do that.
Yeah, you know,
I would
you're,
display
you're
it
Imagine going to that
ironically.
interview.
Yeah. Be like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
so
you-
why do you want to work for KFC corporate? Well, I played your
Yeah.
dating simulator, and
Yes,
I was
and
really
I,
enticed by your company.
I went to finger licking level.
I would
Yes.
think you would go to a competitor
I got all
with
10
your
licked.
culinary
Yeah, there you go.
certificate.
and go, I got Colonel Sanders to date me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Popeyes, look what you missed out on.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Colonel Sanders. All I have to say is.
So that's it for the news. We're going to take our break. We'll be right back. With Game
Olive.
I can't believe you didn't know.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
You say finger licking good, I'm going immediately to Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't
Look, I'll
know.
show you this real quick.
That is scary.
So there we go. He's gonna
This
play
is
the.
what-
Oh my God.
This is what this video looks like.
Yeah, see.
There it
That's
is.
what it is.
That's
And
it
look
right
how
there.
they draw him.
Yep.
It's
Like
anime.
like
it's
Japanese
anime
anime.
inspired.
Oh my
Oh, this
I
is
told
long.
you.
Yeah, but he's like this young, attractive.
That's literally the whole point.
Anime inspired. That's
And
what I'm
then
talking about.
this
No one
was
think about this.
Is the other one.
and this was an escape room game that was in VR.
I did a real escape room recently. It was a lot of
They're
fun.
great. They're a
They
lot of
are,
fun.
yeah. But you have to get the right people with you. There's some people that just
Yeah,
make it
no,
worse.
I escaped from KFC the other day.
Yeah.
The bathroom or the actual place?
I escaped from my room. That's how I got here.
Yeah.
My wife locks me up every
They
day.
also have an extensive
But yeah,
stock
I'm
of
trying to see if I can
popular
find it.
comics to help you fill in the holes in your collection.
Wow.
That's not
We had a good time yesterday. It was really nice. Bernadette was.
It's like you see the art style of this and everything. Like you have to learn how to
She
take
seemed
the
very friendly
chicken.
and
You
nice.
have to put it in the right way. You have to use key cards. It's really funny. This is
Wow.
this was more or less a parody.
Meanwhile, you're working for free.
Yeah, exactly.
correct.
But luckily, it was a game, so it's like you're at least having fun.
Yeah,
with
but
it.
if you're doing the
Pictures are
actual
fine.
task, I mean, it may not be like actually three-dimensional, but you're doing the job.
yeah, you're like, wait a minute, I just literally,
I just worked a shift.
which is some weird dude yelling at me.
You know, I used to play The Sims, right?
Oh, I love The Sims.
I can't stand it. You know why? It resembles my life. You know how if you do too much responsibility and find time for fun, you go, ooh, and just flip out?
Yeah.
I kept flipping out.
And you're like,
you talk to Playboy.
Yeah, because I was so
It's
busy
like the
taking care of tasks, I
WWF.
had no time
Right.
for fun. Well, that's my real life.
and you're like,
Other than that,
I was simulating my real life.
Exactly. So you're crying on the floor in a
Before I
pile
leave,
of your
I
own
just wanted
pee, and you're
to
like, what did I do?
Bernadette got the
I know,
bunny
they
for
called
me.
me.
You know.
I was waiting for that.
The games are
Took
still
the
like that.
picture.
Don't worry. It's just with better graphics.
But I was like, why am I playing? Live it.
Yeah. It's like, why don't I just live it? But no, it's a fun game.
It was fun.
The VR
like-
version was fun
like,
because I
you
remember
would've
playing
been
it just as a
totally
joke,
out
and I'm
of
like, this
place
was
there.
actually kind of
Because there
enjoyable
would've been
because it was just so
nobody-
ridiculous.
Oh my
you know?
God. Dominic's talking to this
I know
guy.
that
He's talking to the what?
Burger King was really like the first video game people to get in because back in like the older
That's why.
Xbox
And then there was
days,
a birthday
they had the
going
games
around.
where you would sneak around as the Burger King and give
guy
people
Tony,
burgers.
Yeah.
who
It was
in
terrifying. It was
Goodfellas
funny.
And analyzed
It was
this
called
and
Sneak
all that.
King. I'm gonna check
And
it
The
out.
Sopranos was his birthday and
Kyle
son's
Lex.
birthday, and
You're listening to It Came From the Radio.
Now, back to
Yeah,
our
same,
show.
forget.
And welcome back to It Came From the official D-Bag Wakanda. This is your host, Mark Torres, speaking along with Charlie Saladino, Zambo the engineer, and our special guest who we're going to be talking to with and about, Phil Russard, from the Suffolk Comic and Art Expo.
Hello.
All right, so Phil is back. This is now
Back
your
again.
and we're gonna
third,
be in trouble.
your third show. So now that you had the ins and outs of running a show, the question I want to ask is why do you want to still keep on doing a show?
I'm a masochist. Actually, I enjoy it. I mean, sometimes you deal with some egos and stuff, but that's okay. I mean, I like what I do. I like art. I like comics. I like making a show the fans enjoy, and I enjoy it.
All right, I would think that masochist is right on top because
Well, we all do something we don't, that's got good and bad to it. You just does the good outweigh it.
all right, that's fair enough.
It's like ebony and ivory.
So what makes this show different than the last two shows? What have you learned and what have you improved upon?
Check outside for signs.
Oh my God! I can't believe you just said that. I'm staying away from that. Anyway, well, one thing on a physical level, it's very hard to find a good venue in Suffolk County,
Okay.
and I kind of locked myself in with that name, which I may rebrand at some point, so I'm not locked in. But
You just say not Suffolk County.
yeah. Yes. But just it's been a journey. For success, you really have to plant roots somewhere and try to keep around the same time, so people know to mark it on their calendar, and that's where I'm going to be. So I think I've planted roots here at the Brentwood campus of Suffolk Community College. It's a really nice spot. It's easy to find on campus. It's not far from Nassau and Queens. So that's
parking?
It's like right in the middle
free
of the
parking,
island,
and there's a
basically.
ton of parking. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could fit thousands of cars. Thousands, remember that. This show is 3 times the size of the last one geographically, and it's 7 times the size of the first one.
Wow.
It's growing very fast thanks to the fans coming out, thanks to people who help promote it. Thank you guys. Charlie's always been a
Oh my
big
God, it was
proponent.
great. I enjoyed it, and it's so close to me.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, if you look at my artist alley, I just keep upping the ante and working hard to get even bigger and better. And all the artists I have are great, of course. And locally, I mean, I get my show hosts. I think we talk about all the big names, but my show hosts. There you go.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
It hosts really the best local talent you'll find anywhere. I mean, these are people that are as talented as the big names. They just haven't gotten their break yet. So.
Which is nice. Which is nice that they're there doing that with all the biggies, and they could hobnob and
I mix them all in together.
yeah.
I want them to be able to get that chance to show their portfolios, get to know these guys. Give them a chance. If I can do anything to help, I will.
So it's not like the huge conventions where you have the little guys over here and then big guys way over the other side of the area.
Yeah, I just don't think that's right. These artists work very hard, and they're not getting the big paydays. They're even paying for their tables, So, yeah, you've got to give them the opportunity to thrive and succeed. And I really feel I have that responsibility as a promoter to not just, of course I need to make a profit off the show, but I think I have an obligation to help them with the environment that helps them thrive as best as possible. Vendors too. If I don't give you an opportunity to thrive and grow your business and succeed with your brand, then what am I doing?
yeah, and I think that's the reason that when I go there, you just feel like I have a feeling of nice. Everything is so nice. The people are nice. Everybody's happy, and so I think that's a major reason for it.
I'm also, don't get me wrong, I'm a fledgling show and I'm not a huge show, but there have been large talent names that I could probably have at the show, but it is important to me that they are positive with fan experience.
So you have a meter of how nice they are before you approach them to come.
Well, not so much nice, because let's be honest, everybody, when they're not out there on the stage, you could question nice, but I like to have people there that when a fan comes and they meet the person they looked up to or they're excited to meet, they walk away with a nice story and a positive feeling, and that's got to be important, right? I mean, how many times have you gone to a show and you were really disappointed by the attitude of that artist or that writer that you looked forward to meeting, and you get that signature, and then it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and now it affects the way you look at every book that person's done from there on.
I haven't experienced it personally, but I know people who have. So,
Yeah.
Like I really can't speak because I'm on kind of the other side of the table now. But I know people who definitely had weird experiences and negative experiences to people that they thought, it's like a whole never meet your idols situation. But then at
Right.
the same time, it's like, but what if you do? And
Right.
then it's like, okay, well,
But we've been fortunate. We have a lot of the guy. Everybody that comes, like Charlie said, they're positive, and the positive energy of the show is important to me. It really is.
Yeah, it's a matter of coming in, and everybody has this just wonderful attitude, and all of a sudden, even if you had a bad day and you walk in, all of a sudden you start smiling after the third table. It's
Thank
like,
you.
hey, it's great.
I appreciate that.
So you have
Well, it's true. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't.
you have the big name artists, you have the little name artists. What else you have?
I have a lot
You
of
have
vendors.
panels. You have
I don't do
you have
panels right
showing
now
a movie.
because
You have a play. What else you got going on there?
I don't do panels right now because for a one-day show that's depriving people of the chance to meet the people they want. If they're at a panel, they're off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to 2 days, whatever the case, then we could look at panels. But I feel it's doing a disservice to fans who are paying to come in and they want to see Adam Kubert, they want to see Jim Steranko. but now they're on a panel and they're not at the table, and the line is just standing there forming.
Just queuing, and they're just like, all right.
Yeah. It just I mean,
not a
it's tough. You got to
personal
walk a
experience.
fine line between the corporate level of things, because of course they do need to grow, but I also want it to stay this family-friendly, positive thing. So panels is something I'll look into when I get to 2 days, but as a 1 day, I just think it pulls people off the floor.
Yeah, I was just going to say there's nothing wrong with panels, but you're absolutely right. It disrupts everything.
For a 1 day,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
And I have vendors from out of state. I have people from North Carolina coming, Phoenix. I have vendors from all over that have wanted to be part of the show, which I'm very grateful for, to all of them.
So how do you, having been at tables, we've had our own tables sometimes at conventions. How do you manage the line if you're next to a big guy with a little guy, because you're gonna have a big line for this guy, and then it's in front of your table?
It's funny that you asked that, and I'm very big on that too. I selectively place, like for example, my last show, I put Scott Williams right next to a door. And his line will go out the door into the hallway, and I have people monitor. I have my people monitor the line to keep in control. I had Mark Bagley. I don't want their lines blocking up vendor booths or other artists that are struggling or just trying to make a name, because that's hurtful to them.
Everyone deserves a pair of eyes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like Adam Kubert is going to be in a very good location right next to a door that goes out to a hallway where it will not clog up any aisles. It won't block anybody. Things like that.
See, that's stuff that I was
And it's
talking
smart for
about
safety
learning.
concerns too.
Yeah, about safety
Think about it,
concerns.
too.
And
Well, also you got to remember, a lot of people don't think about certain things. As a promoter, I have a fire code to follow. The fire marshal's is present, and I can't have too many people on that floor. It's a fire hazard, and it's a problem.
yeah, and it's like I said about, nice job. It's about learning things
Right.
that you go along. So having tons of space, because we always have that problem at any show, small, big, whatever. There's always the crowd control and the flow. That's something that sometimes you have people who actually get it, and you go into a show and it has such a beautiful flow where you just walk in and just follow the flow, and you get to see everything,
Right.
and then out the door you go. Some of them are made in a way that you can't have a flow at all, and
Right.
it's just a massive chaos.
Well, what did you think, Charlie, about the flow of the last show? Did it make sense?
Oh my God, yeah, it
Because
definitely
I'm big
did.
on how I organize that.
It was that large room, and you know my criteria. If I could walk freely around, I love the way the flow was, and it was nice. There was air. Unlike places where
There was air.
there are places where you can't get a germ through.
Yeah,
because
true.
Well, this is 23,000 square feet, and I have 10-foot aisles, fire code. And the way I set it up is it's kind of like islands for all the vendors.
Okay.
So they're getting traffic from every angle, which also helps free up. When those guys are standing there at the comic bins and they're flipping through,
Right.
they're allowed to comfortably look through their boxes, and
Without
they're
getting
not
bumped
blocking up the aisle where you can. And the other thing with cosplayers, I always have areas for cosplayers.
Take pictures and
Take
stuff.
pictures, do the
yeah.
stuff. They're welcome to walk the floor, of course, but it does become cumbersome when a lot of cosplayers stop in the middle of the aisles and take pictures. I'm not saying don't take pictures, but we do have to be cognizant of how we're disrupting the flow.
Right.
That
And just a note to all the photographers there, do not take your cosplayers right out in the middle of something and then have a whole photo shoot. I want you like this. I want you like that. There's people walking around you.
Again, that's why I have
Yeah.
that area. At
Right.
Stony Brook, I had a nice open area, and they got to do that.
Right.
Because I also don't want to hurt anybody's business. These guys are photographers. They're making money. They're doing their thing. And at the show before that, I had that whole room set up for them with a studio downstairs. Well, again, there'll be areas here that they can go and cosplayers can enjoy. No one should feel left out. No one should feel like they're not important. And to me, I really think everybody should be treated equally, like they're just as important as anybody else. But you still have to balance the respect of vendors need to do business, and I can't have 15 people blocking their booth
Yeah.
for pictures. So we have to work that out.
So how much research goes into this of the traffic flow and all this stuff? Because I would think it's incredibly difficult to map something out like this.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for other promoters, and
I'm talking
there's
about you.
promoters that have so much more experience than me. But for me, I'm actually very good at space. I'm very good at organization. I'm very good at that kind of stuff. So it's really not that bad. I take a nice graph paper and I actually do the math as far as the actual square footage of the room. I get it right down to the foot.
So that math degree came in handy, huh?
Yeah, no, my fingers come in handy. 1, 2, 3. I get to use my toes too, and I map it out. But of course, I have to submit it to the university because they call the shots and they have to approve it based on the fire marshal, and we go from there.
Nice.
Food. What kind of food we have there? Do we have campus food?
In traditional style of Phil Russert shows, there will be a hot catered lunch. It will be Italian food.
Yeah.
Now the venue, I have to use their caterer, so I'm restricting that level. But it'll be good. And
Still good food?
There'll be and there'll be a green
reasonably
room.
priced. We're not talking Javits Center prices.
No, well,
here.
the thing is, the food is for all vendors and artists.
Well, what about people who want to come to the show?
I don't have food for them, but there is a cafeteria that the university provides. I don't have control over that.
Okay,
like
fair
I
enough.
can't have food trucks there.
I was about to ask you. Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
can't have food trucks there. I wanted to. I'm not allowed to sell any food outside. So the food I provide is for the guests, the vendors. Most shows, they do a green room. It's just for like their quote-unquote stars. Everybody at my show that is part of the show, the vendors, the local artists, and the quote-unquote big names, they all get to have lunch.
Oh, all right. So
Press.
And right,
Yeah.
I was just going to say, even I was invited for the delicious baked ziti that Mark was so pissed off that he missed.
And
Yeah,
meatballs and the
And
heroes.
meatballs, yeah.
The only thing is, because sadly people take great advantage of generosity, and we were out of food in 20 minutes because people were going back for thirds before Scott Williams got anything. I have to do a ticket system, 1 ticket per vendor booth and per artist. You come in, we serve you the food. I mean, unfortunately, I can't keep reordering food.
Just for the record, I did not have anything.
He didn't even bring me anything.
I just was waiting to come back and say
He was
they had
stuffing it in his
food.
pockets. What are you talking about? He had meatballs in his pocket.
Yeah. Oh, you saw the sauce.
Ziplocs on Ziplocs. I saw the Ziplocs when you walked
He
in.
didn't even use Ziplocs. He just put them in his pocket.
I was saying it was paint from one of the artists.
But smell like oregano. Don't worry about it.
Why are those dogs chasing him?
Yeah.
I have to say, I very rarely buy stuff at conventions. That I was going from table. Everybody was so great, and I was looking at stuff. That's great. I want it. That's great. I want it.
And you know what's funny is the local artists, granted the quote-unquote draw is the big names, but a lot of people can't afford a big name price of art.
Yeah.
There are so many artists at this show that are so talented. You're going to walk away with fantastic art, but the price is not elevated because of stature, because of resume.
Right.
That's big.
They were great prices. It was
Yeah.
great. That's one of the reasons I.
You're also gonna do that raffle thing that you had. I know you had the first. Yeah, I
The
don't know about
first two
second
shows
one.
I had the stature raffle. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this particular show, but I will bring it back for the next show.
Aw.
Damn it! And I felt so lucky this show.
Yeah, there were just some kinks that I just don't have time to work out right now. So, but we'll do it next show. I know because it's something that is
Nice.
kind of traditional to me.
But you do have a print that I saw you posting online.
I actually just got the color of it back. It looks so good. My wife is an artist. She's awesome. She's an amazing artist. She doesn't realize it though. I don't know if that's good or bad, but she drew a Black Cat print being chased by Spider-Man. It looks fantastic. I'm having Jesse Hagee, who is a professional colorist. He's done a lot of work on books. Color the pencils. I also have a guy, Enrique Lopez, that's an inker who's at my show. He's a local talent. He did an inked version of it that'll be colored, and you can have either one over the pencils or over the inks. It's a free print at the show. I'm going to be honest with you. I was first saying 500, the first 500. I don't know. I might change my mind and maybe up that number. But it'll be a free print, and it'll be at the booth of Mad Titan Comics. He will have the prints at that table because he's also got all the like the sleeves to put art and stuff like that. And he's right
okay.
across from Artist Alley. And Enrique Lopez will be right across too. So if you want to get him to sign it, and then you could buy the sleeve to put it in so it's not damaged.
Cool.
I got the color proof today. Jesse did a fantastic job. My wife's pencil awesome. It looks fantastic. It's like a 9x12 though. It's not a traditional 11x17.
Nice.
So it seems to me that you have multi layers of intertwining ideas that are working together to make it an even better flow. Because not just the traffic flow, but you have people specifically spot next to other people who would work well together.
Yes.
So is that also something you have to sit down with the math and figure out? Is this like planning a wedding that you have to figure out who's on whose table and who can be here and who can be but I can't put this guy next to that
Who
guy.
has to stay by the bathroom?
And again, like we were discussing before the show, sometimes you have guys that work together on stuff, but they didn't get along. And you have to be aware not to put them together because they're not comfortable.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it, but that's actually not the hard part. The hard part is the inconsistency, people taking a long time to get back to you, or they cancel at the last minute, or they're, it's the wishy-washiness that you deal with sometimes with people that they're not, yes, I'm coming, or yes, I'm doing this, or this is what I need. They're kind of up and down.
Wow. And I know you're bringing talent from internationally to the show.
I do all the time.
How does first, why? And how does that work? Because that's Boku nonsense extra on my head to coordinate somebody coming from Zimbabwe, coming all the way over here.
You know why? And it's going to sound like a line or corny, but because you don't get to see them. And there's a lot of people, like for example, I have Dan Mora who did he's big on the Power Rangers books. And a lot of people love Power Rangers anime. He also did covers for Super Sons. He lives in Costa Rica. When do you get to see him? If I can bring him in as a service and make some fans happy that I get to meet Dan Moore and I can get him to sign my Power Rangers book, or get a Power Rangers art done by this guy and then have Dan sign it, or like Luke Ross, or like Luke Ross, who's done Star Wars and a lot of the things. He lives in Brazil, a fantastic guy, and when do you get to see him?
True,
and especially in Long Island,
It's actually quite amazing how you are working on this level of the New York Comic Con, grabbing all these big names.
Thank you.
For no offense, a small show.
No offense taken.
Like, to me, that's insane.
Yeah.
I think that's the craziest in a good way.
That's what makes the show great. That's why I enjoy going. And I don't know anything about
that's true.
setting up or artists or anything. And for me, not to know anything about artists and go there and look and say, wow, this is great stuff, and enjoy myself and able to move freely. It's great.
So let's see. How much are tickets?
It's $20 for a ticket. I didn't do a discounted pre-sale this time.
How old kids get free? How old?
10 and under are free.
10 and under. Do you check for ID to see if they're 10? Because there's some 10-year-olds that are pretty tall.
Look, we try not to be sticklers. I mean, we don't want to put anybody through.
For like 4 years.
Yeah. We don't like to put anybody through anything. But I mean, if you're 6 feet and you're saying you're 10, we may ask for some proof.
Maybe.
But if it's we're not. This isn't going to be like the Gestapo.
Hey, Phil, is that why I got him free?
Yeah. We would hope
that was the height requirement.
we would hope that people are honest. We would really hope that people are honest, because if you don't support the show by paying a low ticket price of $20, there is no more show.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. Unfortunately, the last show we had over 100 people caught trying to sneak in. And
Nice.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's a good and a bad sign, because you have people wanting to sneak in. So that's good.
Yeah, but people don't understand, if you don't support what it is that you love, you're actually ending it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're sneaking in is ending that, making sure you'll never see this show again.
You're basically hurting the little guy.
And I mean,
that's the movie theater logic right there. You
Yeah.
sneak
but
in.
there's a difference here
That's
too.
with the candy, though. I
You
don't
can
wanna
go
put
to
a
any
second
movie
popcorn.
theater to watch a movie.
Yeah.
I don't want this to come out the wrong way, because there are a lot of great one-day shows out there and a lot of great promoters. So I mean, no disrespect, but where are you going to see New York Comic Con Artist Alley talent at a one-day show? So if you want this to continue, you have to do the right thing and support the show. I'm not asking for a lot of money at the door. So I would just implore people, just be honest, do the right thing, and I promise you I'll give you the best product I can.
Where can people buy tickets?
Online at www.Suffolk Comic Art Expo. Please make sure you spell it correctly. It's also on our Instagram, which is Suffolk Comic Art Expo. It's in the bio. You can, at the door, cash or credit, we will accept.
Taking cash?
Yes, and we'll have separate lines for cash or credit, so we can move you along quickly.
Nice.
We also, just to let everybody know, there will be a very very easy, simple little bag check just at the door. Just
Just want to make sure.
You gotta be safe. You gotta be safe. Makes
And
sense.
and
That's
props
always fine.
just to make sure everybody understands. It
Check
all
your
has to be
props.
foam or soft. Otherwise, we need you to put it back in your car. We're sorry. We can't have any hard, blunt objects. Anything that's made of metal. Anything that's
Not
hardwood.
even those Captain America shields.
We would go by a case-by-case basis. A Captain America shield would probably be acceptable.
I mean, it is a hard.
Yeah.
It's made out of metal. some of
And,
them.
and just because of the current climate, if you have toy firearms, they must be red tipped and long, clearly demarcated red tips, or a sci-fi gun. If it looks like it's real, for everyone's safety, it can't come in.
Yeah.
So do
fair
you
enough.
have like a list of cosplay,
On the website.
Yeah, do's and don'ts. That way
And
people can check
cosplay is
and they
not
know ahead of time.
consent. We have to remember this is a family-friendly event.
That's
It
right.
is respectful. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. I don't care how they're dressed. No one, no one has the right to infringe upon anyone else in any inappropriate manner.
That is right.
Where's my-
That is right.
See? You gotta look, Charlie. What's
I wanted you to do that again just so I could applause you. That you got the right one. Yeah.
nice? So we did prices. We did a website. We did So where can people find? What if people want to be on your show? Where do people get in contact with you to have a table or a spot on? I guess your next show.
Yes.
You're ready starting for the next show.
Oh,
Is
I've already
ready-
got a lot of talent lined up. It's actually going to be killing again.
Nice.
The people that anyway, I haven't announced the date. I do have a date. I haven't announced it just because when you're dealing with state universities,
need
there's
to make
contracts,
sure.
there's paperwork, I can't, like if I was at a hotel, I could just say it.
Right.
I can't make the announcement now, and this is a reoccurring issue that I have dates set before the show, my show comes up, but I can't announce them, and then unfortunately, sometimes people don't know I have that date, and they put a show that day, or whatever the case may be. It causes issues, but I'm just going to say it, April 4th. I have
My
another
birthday.
show April 4th. Is
My
it your
birthday.
Oh.
Well, Charlie,
Really?
you come over, we'll have a birthday cake for you.
Ah, beautiful.
I will. I will.
Is
As long
that
as
only
it's made
for
of
Charlie?
baked ziti and meatballs. No.
Just give a tray. Just
Yeah.
give a tray just for
Tray.
Charlie.
Put
And
a
just so
candle
you
and a
know,
meatball on
the
that.
reason I'm also reluctant to the date because I don't know if it's going to be a 2-day show yet or not. It
Wow.
might wind up being the 4th and
So
5th.
stay tuned to your
So-
social media.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a good little plug there.
Please
Well,
follow.
So as a business end, how do you determine what makes a 2-day show or a 1-day show?
There's a lot that goes into that. A lot of people now are telling me, why, if you're getting all these names, why aren't you going to 2-day shows? We had a great turnout for the second show. I mean, it was actually almost four times the amount of the people at the first show. I mean, I was very
Beautiful.
lucky and grateful and happy.
Beautiful.
But at the same time, you have to, you double your expenses when you go to 2 days. And I have to look at that. And I have to look at attendance because I'm always thinking of the vendors and the artists too. How many shows do you go to that are 2 days? Saturday, they get 3,000 people. Sunday, they're twiddling their thumbs and they're like, why am I here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for these people to load in their inventory and to,
Travel
and pay
stay.
staff. So I don't think it's right for me to just milk them to get money at the door, and then they're sitting there on a Sunday. Plus, it's not good business practice. They don't come back.
Yeah.
So I want to know that I got enough people that Saturday and Sunday are going to be busy throughout, and these guys know that this is the show I want to go to because this is worth my time.
All right. Social media, quick mention. Your Instagram account is
Instagram, Suffolk Comic Art Expo. Facebook, Suffolk Comic Art Expo. Twitter, oh God, it's like SCCE something. I'm sorry, I don't remember
That's
because
okay.
I hate Twitter.
Fair enough.
I
The
have
two
'em.
important ones. Good.
and the website, which is www.suffolkcomicartexpo.com. There is no county and there is no end in there. Please spell it correctly because it unfortunately goes to another site that is not affiliated with the show.
I would misspell it incorrectly all the time. I've said it incorrectly all the
Well,
time.
unfortunately, and I'm not going to get into it deep, at the last event, people were redirected to a wrong event, and they missed on Mark Bagley because of it, and they were upset.
So that's why you should put down not Suffolk County Comic Art Expo and not Suffolk.
Yeah.
That way
That'll
you're-
really
you're-
confuse
you're
people.
set,
Not the
you're set.
daddy.
So just get the website correct. That's all I would ask.
Yeah.
Please pay attention to what you're spelling in.
Suffolk Comic Art, Suffolk County.
Yo,
No,
don't listen
Suff-
to him.
No one listen to Mark.
See, I got
Suffolk
messed
Arts
up.
Expo.
Let Phil say it.
Suffolk-
Say it again.
Suffolk Comic Art Expo.
Suffolk Comic Art Expo.
No
Suffolk
county, no
Comic-
end.
Suffolk Comic Art Expo.
Let's put it this way: if you don't
Right?
see
Yeah.
if you don't see Adam Kubert and Jim Steranko on the website,
It's not
that's
it.
not us.
That
All
ain't
right. So, we're almost out of time. Final thought time.
it. All right.
So, Charlie, since you are to my right, do you have a final thought for us?
Yes, I do. I want to thank Phil for having a great expo, and I always go there. I always enjoy it, and his hospitality is great. Even though I called him Paul for 2 expos.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I've been
and-
called worse by family.
Yes, so I want him to know that I appreciate that, Phil, and go to his expo, and want to say hello to my new grandchild.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Eva Louisa Camelli, and my buddy
God bless.
Little C Charlie Camelli, my grandson.
Nice.
Zambo,
That's
final
amazing.
thought?
Phil, congratulations and good luck.
Thank
of
you.
course. I hope to be there either as a patron or as an attendee. Who knows? Charlie, once again, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
I would also like to mention that my fiance has the same birthday
Ah,
as you.
There you
so
go.
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
Final thought, Phil?
All I would say is, please come out, support the show. If you enjoy art, if you enjoy comics, and we have a little pop culture. It's Suffolk Community College Brentwood campus. Very easy to get to. It's like exit 53 on the LIE. It's right, and Sagnicos gets there, which connects to Southern State and Northern State.
347 gets
Yep.
there. Yep.
It's October 26th. It's a Saturday. It's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we have just major talent: Jim Steranko, Adam Kubert, Art Taber, Dan Mora, Luke Ross, Brent Peoples, so many people. Barry Kitson, Denny O'Neill, Scott Lobdell, Norm Ratman. And we've got tons of comics. Tons.
Tons.
Awesome.
Tons.
So my final thought is this. Thank you once again, Phil, for coming down. I do want to mention that we'll be giving away 2 free passes at our
Yes.
live show. So thank you for that. Really appreciate that. Much continued success.
Thank you.
I did like the first show. I didn't get to go to the second show, so now we got to see what happens with the third
And
show.
he was pissed because
Yeah.
I just drove home to Big
Yeah.
Seedy and Meatball.
Yeah, the food was. All I need is some good food, good air conditioning, good parking, and I think that's you, Charlie.
Yep.
Nice, good job.
Sure.
So yeah. So
Oh,
that
can I
about-
can I
yeah.
just say
And that's the bell.
Yes, go ahead.
I also want to say thank you. You guys have always been supportive, having me on every time. I really appreciate it. Everybody needs to be listening to this show. It's a very good show, very talented, very well run.
Hey.
And I sincerely appreciate everything you guys say and do about the show.
Oh, thank you.
So that about does it for this week on the
Does
Came
it
From the
really,
Radio.
Mark?
Join
Does
us
it
right
really?
here and every week on this radio station. If you miss any part of our show,
Tough.
go to our website, www.itcamefromradio.com. This is the archives will be up in a week or so, or check us out such places as Overcast, Pocket Cast, iHeartRadio, Google Play, iTunes, Breaker or Breakers, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Spotify, Podbean, Player FM, Soundcast, Acast, Castbox, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podmus, Luminary, Blueberry, Mixcloud, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Castro. Or, as Dominic would say, just Google It Came From the Radio. We will see you next week.
Take it easy.
You've been listening to It Came From the Radio with Mark Torres. The views of the
Oh, I almost
show's
forgot.
hosts and
So, yeah,
guests
that's it,
do not
live show.
necessarily
forgot
reflect
we were
that
on Facebook
of the
Live.
management,
Hey.
owners, or staff
As
of
I
the
mentioned
station.
before, there is
We
the
now return
Carol
you
and
to
Paula
your earthly
show, which is
scheduled
happening
broadcast.
this Sunday at the Bolton Center. Tickets are on sale. For more information, go to www.carolandpaula.com. It's a 12:30 and 4 p.m. show. And I also have there, as she mentioned on the show last week, which is playing on the air, she has her private concert series that you can go find out more information on that. And we have our 25th live show at the Source Mall on 10/16. And I think that covers everything. So thanks for joining us. Make sure you come back next time at 2 p.m. on, what's the next day? The 9th, 10/9. I'll make sure of that. And we'll see you next time.